it's Michael from Culture Talk and Tours, and I'm here in Siem Reap, Cambodia, here at the gallery of Tamara Venn. Tamara, nice to meet you.
Hello.
Now, Tamara is an artist. You are a British artist, based now in Cambodia. And my friend Charlie, who I'm visiting here in Cambodia, had shown me your work, and Tamara was on my list of artists to meet. So Tamara, can you give us a little background?
Yeah. So I've been living in Siem Reap, Cambodia for 8 years.
Okay.
I have a younger brother who
Okay.
moved here 15 years ago.
Okay.
So I came to spend 6 months with him, and then I just never got on the plane back to London.
Okay.
So I fell in love with Siem Reap. Just the pace of life is so much slower and relaxing, and just all of that sort of stress that I was feeling trying to be a full-time artist in London, I didn't have that here.
Okay. And you're a trained artist, you went to school to be an artist?
Yeah, I studied fine art at Central St Martin's in London.
Oh, wonderful.
And graduated, and then spent 12 years in London after that, just doing lots of different jobs for like illustration work and digital illustration work, things like that, but never painting.
Okay.
Which was my passion.
Right.
So,
And is that when you came here that's when you kind of really started that?
well, I came and there was a lot of demand for murals. So I came and just began painting murals here, Phnom Penh, Kratche, Battambang. And then I fell into doing lots of, like, again, illustration work and all that kind of stuff. But it was really when COVID hit that my work sort of stopped.
Right.
And it meant that it basically forced me to start painting on canvas.
Right.
And my dream was always to have a solo exhibition. And during COVID, I had that time to start working on a body of work. And then when COVID ended, I got to have my first show here.
Wonderful.
And then it's just, I've not looked back since.
No. And now you have this gallery space.
Yes.
And how long have you had this space?
Only about 5 months.
Okay. So before that, were you just working in your studio and?
In my home studio.
Okay.
The past 2 high seasons, I spent the year working on new pieces
Right.
for the end of year show.
Okay.
But last year I was too busy working on sort of commissions and pieces like that I didn't have the time or really the mental brain space to like come up with a new like series.
Right.
So I was like, what can I do to get me through the high season? And I was like, oh, I'll open an art gallery because
Right.
you can do crazy things like that here.
Yes. And it's such a great space too. Now this street, it has other artists on it as well?
Yeah, there's about 5 other galleries down here, photography, painting, and most of us all opened at the same time. So
Okay.
Kanda Village, which is the name of this road, it's sort of come back to life again just in the last 6 months.
Okay. And it's a great space. I've just arrived. I haven't had a time to kind of look around, but you can see when we look more at your art, you are so inspired by everyday life here in Cambodia.
I am, especially wildlife.
Yes.
I love animals, I love nature. My work really focuses on native Cambodian wildlife.
Right.
And it is very surprising to most people, the abundance of wildlife that we do still have in Cambodia.
Yes.
Cambodia doesn't have the best reputation at the moment for its environmentalism or conservation. And deforestation has been a big issue for many years. And nature perseveres.
Yes.
And yeah, that's what my work is about. My last exhibition, which was titled A Land in Flux, was all about the different conservation projects, the really good conservation projects that
Right.
are actually happening in the country right now.
Right.
And linking those to the paintings and then telling the story of these organizations and all the good things they're doing.
Oh, wonderful. So you're kind of putting a little voice on other organizations
Definitely.
as well. And if you've been to Cambodia, especially if you've been to the ruins of Angkor Wat, you can see how the jungle has retaken over what used to be a huge civilization.
Yeah.
Now these paintings, as I look around, it's absolutely stunning. I want to just get the camera to look at everything. Are you going out in the field? Are you sketching, photography? how are you putting these together to make these beautiful paintings?
Yes, I do. I go out and into the field, or I work basically from photographs
Okay.
that I take.
Right.
But I never go out with a plan.
Right.
So it's always very spontaneous.
Right.
And I work from photos that I take, yes, but also photos from the different organisations.
Right.
And then also just like images from online. There's a lot of actual animals here that you won't get to see.
Right.
They're so few and far between.
Right.
For example, this piece is definitely not taken from photos.
Right.
But there's, well, not photos that I've taken anyway. But what I do is I like work from different images and kind of play around with them in Photoshop, like a collage.
Right.
So the top section here with the hills, that's actually from a photo of the north of Cambodia.
Right.
And then the elephants are elephants from the Kiri.
Right.
The red-shanked dugalangers are very rare. That's from a photo that unfortunately I couldn't take. And then actually in this piece, I've used elements from some of Henri Rousseau's paintings.
Right.
Like the flowers,
Oh, wonderful.
plants, and these pink flowers. And then put those into the piece as well. So yeah, I play around a lot.
So it's a lot of kind of figuring out like a puzzle before.
Yeah.
And then are you drawing it onto the canvas first, or you just kind of?
I hand make paper stencils.
Okay.
So for the animals. So
Right.
I always want to make sure that the animals are anatomically correct.
Right.
Especially faces.
Right.
And so I work again from my laptop. I just put the paper over the screen, I trace, and then I cut out stencils and then work from those.
Okay.
Everything else, like the botanicals, like when I'm painting certain street scenes and different elements, those are all freehand.
Okay. And what I saw was more of your everyday, kind of the monks or the novices walking in the tuk-tuks.
Mm-hmm.
Now, are you finding, like other artists, where sometimes you're walking maybe with friends, you see something that is everyday for other people,
Mm-hmm.
but the composition just works for you, so you just have to kind of capture it?
Yeah,
Yes.
for sure.
Yeah. Because some of your pieces are just so wonderful, how everything's coming together.
Thank you.
That you sometimes, I always ask this of other artists, because I oftentimes as well will be with friends and I see something, there's a flag blowing the wind perfectly, or something, the light is hitting perfect, and I just take a picture of it.
Yeah, my latest mini collection of paintings that I'm working on at the moment all centre around the red plastic chair.
Yes, I've noticed that.
And just like moments of like where I've been out in town and I've seen a plastic chair, just a dilapidated chair in a weird situation, or in just an ordinary situation,
Right.
and I've taken photos and I'm working pretty much directly from those photos.
Okay.
And that's going to be that's like a fun but quite different kind of style of work that I'm working on right now.
Than your usual work.
Yeah.
So years later, you're still finding inspiration every day.
Oh, totally, for sure. Yes.
Yes, and I just yesterday was at the market, and just all the fruits and all the fabrics folded up, and the masks and the ceramics, and
There's so much colour here, and the light quality just lends itself to wanting to paint everything you see.
yeah, and you're right about the light. It is, because it's kind of flat and there's not
It's
a,
vibrant.
yes, and it just seems to be a lot of light. Now, you're working in acrylic?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Mm.
And do you do any silk screens or any other medium?
No, not at the moment. I have worked with a few different small ethical brands here.
Right.
One of them being a rattan weaving accessory brand,
Right.
where I painted designs onto the rattan bags.
Oh, cool.
As a limited edition run. They were really fun and really pretty. We were really happy with the final look because it was just, yeah, it was cool. And then last year I worked with a gold jewellery brand based
Right.
in Phnom Penh,
Right.
where we basically engraved some of my designs onto
I saw
jewellery pieces.
I saw that as well.
And this year I'm collaborating with a linen clothing
Oh, wonderful.
company called Dune, and we're going to be working on embroidery.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so we'll have like my chairs, my hornbills, my powdered leopards, that kind of thing, embroidered onto
Wonderful.
pieces. So,
Okay. And this wall behind us, you've painted this as well?
yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So you were talking about murals because I was at Wild in Phnom Penh, a fabulous restaurant, and they've got your artwork, and then there also is a huge mural at the entrance.
Yeah.
How did things like that come about?
Well, I was here, I think it was 7 years ago, when Renaud and Lorraine, the owners, came to Siem Reap and opened up their first wild here.
Okay.
In Siem Reap. And they had seen some of my other mural work and asked if I would be interested to paint a wall
Right.
in their space, and I was like, absolutely yes. And that mural in that wild was the first mural in that kind of style of painting, whereas when I was living in London, a lot of my work was black and white,
Right.
whereas when I moved here, it was like I discovered colour.
Right.
And I became way more confident using colour. So the wild mural was a big experiment
Yes.
in just style and colour and experimentation.
Right.
And they loved it so much that they named a cocktail after me.
Wonderful.
You can order the gin Tamara cocktail, which was like probably the biggest honour I've ever had. And then when they a few years later opened the Wild in Phnom Penh, they were like, we want you to like basically create a new Wild mural for us.
Right.
So
Okay, so they still have their location here as well? Okay, I'll have to check that out. And I'll go back to the Wild in Phnom Penh because what's so much interesting about it is that it's in the garden setting. So you've got all of this lush painting, but there's also flowers and trees kind of growing
yeah.
against it. So it's kind of got this natural frame
Yeah.
that's quite
You'll
beautiful.
get lost. You should definitely see the one here because
Okay.
it's been overgrown, well not overgrown, but everything's been growing around it for
Okay.
much longer. So
I'll go see it. But it's almost like if you're not looking, you're just like, oh, there's a tiger there, you know? And the way that house is set up, your paintings really fit in.
yeah.
Well, I have so many questions to ask, but I know that you've got an appointment you've got to go to. So I want to thank you for your time. Your work is absolutely stunning. We're going to have a look more at her work. You're on Instagram. We can find you on Instagram. If you are in Siem Reap, we'll list the address for your gallery here. And are you working here as well? Is this your studio space behind us?
At the moment, I'm working from behind my desk,
Oh, okay.
which isn't great.
Right.
But I am working here every day at the moment. But
Okay.
I will be hiring a full-time assistant from March,
Okay.
so I can start working from home again.
Okay, so you're always working and you're working towards a new show.
I think so. I haven't kind of figured that one out yet.
Okay, and where will the show be? Here in the gallery or in another location?
Well, the little mini-series I'm working on will debut next month.
Okay,
They'll actually be upstairs.
okay,
So, but that's because it's a very small little collection. But I'm planning on working on a bigger collection later this year.
okay.
And that would be in this space now.
And you're also interested in showing in other galleries and other places, so
Definitely.
we do have a lot of gallery directors who are watching. So if you are interested, she is interested in having shows somewhere else. Well, again, thank you for your time. It's absolutely wonderful to meet you.
Aw, thank you.
And we'll have a look at her work, and we will see you on the next episode.